So this Real-Time Economic Summit is brought by RTC. RTC was created 3 years ago, and it was created as the Real-Time Conference. And we wanted to create an event which would take place in 3 different cities: Munich, Paris, and New York. And we had the great idea to schedule it in April 2020. Something happened. You might have heard of it. And we had to cancel Munich first, and then regroup Paris, New York, then to cancel Paris, and then to cancel New York. And a lot of events decided to wait and see. We decided to transition into a fully virtual event. After all, we were about real time, which is all about virtual. So we decided to create an event which would be about real-time technologies, which will happen in real time, and which would be fully virtual. RTC was extremely successful. We opened registration 8 days before the first event in April 6th, on April 6th, and we had 7,000 people who registered in 7 days. So we thought that's great. We are on a good track. It's really the right time for real time. These are a few figures about RTC, the fully virtual event. So as you can see, in 3 years, we're able to bring together 15,000 emails. We have an audience mostly made of professional decision makers, executive management, etc. Since we had so many executives and we were so successful, we decided to grow as fast as possible, and we created the Real-Time Society, a professional organization bringing together real-time specialists. Similar, if you are familiar with Visual Effects Society or Kronos Group, this is the kind of same professional organization. And we decided to create an event which would focus only on the economics of this business. There are a lot of events which are about technologies, about workflow, about creative aspects of things, but not a lot discussing the economic impact of real-time technologies. And in the future, we will create the Real-Time Innovation Award, the Real-Time Institute, and the Real-Time Research Lab. So now I go back to the beginning of this presentation. So my apologies for this. It was a little bit last minute preparation. And here we go. So this is an image of our last fully virtual event, which was on this LED stage in Toronto. And the Real-Time Economic Summit, which is the purpose of this talk, is not another technology event. It's really an executive think tank. We want to bring 250 decision makers and executives from around the world, across industries, to discuss how real-time technology adoption impacts the bottom line, and to offer as much as can be strategic, honest perspectives on the strategic technology decisions in the face of economic uncertainty. These are a few people, a few companies which have been participating in RTC since the creation of the event in April 2020. We believe there's a need for a summit on the economics of real-time technologies. We want to answer some hard questions. Which real-time tools and techniques are ready for my field's demand? Will adopting real-time technologies mean real structural change? What will it cost to get started? What return on investment can I expect, and when? This event will take place at the Museum of the Moving Image in New York, which is a very nice place. Again, it's a curated gathering. The majority of the event is peer-to-peer, intimate roundtable, closed-door workshops, networking events, and cameras are off. There will be no recording, there will be no journalists, to really facilitate honest and candid discussions. There will be some strategic keynotes on fireside chat taking place in the main auditorium of the Museum of the Moving Image. So Mark Whitten, who is Senior Vice President and General Manager Create at Unity, will give a keynote about freeing the 3D data of the enterprise. We have Jo Platte, Chief Innovation Officer and VFX Supervisor at Metaphysics.ai, who will give a keynote about real-time AI in feature film. Is generative AI already changing the economics of film production today? Which benefits will challenge us? If you have to have a look at the text, I will not read it, but you can see that we try to focus on what have been the challenges metaphysics had to face to reach this result. What worked, what didn't, which lesson did metaphysics learn based on this experience? These are not marketing talks trying to promote a solution, trying to promote a product. We believe we live in a world of promises, where everything is great, and you will see what happens in 1 year, we will see what happens in 2 years, in 5 years from now. So this is really promises upon promises upon promises. We try to freeze the image and to get into the reality. What works? What doesn't work? How much does it cost? If I'm an architecture studio with 1,200 architects, how do I train them? How do I transition from a linear workflow to a real-time workflow? And we are trying to bring as many case studies as possible to have candid discussion on honest perspective on what worked, what didn't work. Obviously, generative AI will be at the core of some of the conversations. It's a pretty hot topic. And with, in this case, what is super interesting with metaphysics is that they applied the de-aging system to Bob Zemeckis' next movie. So we are bringing Kevin Bailey, the VFX supervisor on the movie, maybe Bob, maybe a couple of other significant players to really discuss what is what are the results. And as we all know, it's always possible to write a beautiful story about this. Hey, look, generative AI is changing the face of the feature movie production. Sure, but how? And we all know that to achieve a goal like this, it means extremely short night and extremely long days and a lot of sweating. Yves Mahler is the CTO of ForgeRock. So ForgeRock is not necessarily super well known in this community, not as well known as Epic or Unity or these players. What is interesting with ForgeRock is that, oops, it goes too fast. It's very sensitive, this thing. What happens? Let me see. What is interesting with ForgeRock is that they discuss identity, security, access management. And in a time of increasing virtualization, I think it's a very relevant topic. Beside these keynotes, there will be some working sessions on roundtables, which will provide a platform for a smaller group of people to discuss key issues. There will be experienced moderators to guide the discussion, and also some reporters who will be able to come back into the audience to explain what are the main takeaways of each of these working sessions. As you can see, we have access to different rooms at the Museum of the Moving Image, which provide a perfect space for this kind of discussions. Obviously, there will be some networking opportunity, nice cocktails, and a nice moment together. We will discuss, just to give you a very quick example of what we will talk about. So, fourth industrial revolution, digital twins, virtual production. I will get back to this a little bit longer. And talking about virtual production, this is an example of the topics that we want to discuss in this framework of from promise to reality. So we will have leaders and experts. So that's a small group here who are leading the conversation. And we will have 20, 25 people joining these leaders to have this candid discussion for 3 to 4 hours in a separated room. We identify different topics, which are listed here: creative content evaluation on execution strategies for virtual production, how to educate, guide, manage titles and filmmakers to engage in new technology workflows across simple, complex, and global content, budgeting strategies for complex virtual production, upon dialogue about tactics of success when evaluating and unpacking virtual production content opportunities, when to hire in the development process, key takeaways that move titles to green light, learnings on setting VAT, scheduling, budgeting, crewing, etc. And then another session will be more focused, more devoted to LED volume, discussing again what has worked, what has been challenging, what have the risks been, what learnings can we share. Discussion about the design and architecture, partnerships to execute, financial burden, content execution approaches, de-risking technology obsolescence, etc. So as you can see, we really try to dive into the reality of the virtual production community is facing. The same structure applies, for example, to architecture, where we will bring again some leaders and experts and a group of participants or attendees to discuss the economic impact of the real-time design process, the evaluation of real-time solutions and implementation strategies, digital twins development and data ownership. And for each of these working sessions, it's the same structure, expert, leaders, and an agenda well curated. On the metaverse aspect of things, which is still very, very active, we will, of course, discuss, is it hype or is it normality? We will focus on content on creation processes, analysis of needed building blocks, available platforms, other consideration like data standardization. And of course, we will discuss technology and ecosystem, shedding light on the technical requirement, dependencies, and discuss the strategies to establish a sustainable ecosystem for the business. There will be also some roundtable. So, for example, AI in visual arts or equity, diversity, and inclusion, just to name a few. These are the list of partners who have been supporting us from the beginning of RTC. And I would like to thank specifically Epic and Unreal Engine, who were the founding partners of RTC. Without them, we wouldn't be where we are at the moment. If you, for the partners who will join us, it's obvious that it will be an opportunity to engage with top-notch decision makers, to generate new leads, to increase brand exposure, accelerate time to market, discover new business idea, and engage with highly motivated professionals. Just to give you an impression of what the Museum of the Moving Image looks like. So this is the main entrance of the Museum of the Moving Image. This is the registration desk. This is the code check, the monitors which will be in front of the code check. This is the cafe, which is where a lot of cocktails and parties will take place. And this is the entrance of the main auditorium. I showed you pictures of the main auditorium before. Again, some participants from previous RTCs, and thank you to all of them. As you can see, it's pretty diverse. Some testimonials, I will skip that. They love us and they say very good things about us. So that's great. If you will to participate, you still can do it. We benefit from the support of wonderful advisory board. So thank you to all of these players. We have curators who are helping shape these tracks. If you are interested in helping us, please reach out. And this is the team with counselors, management, and co-founders. There are 250 tickets which are available. So if you want to participate, join us. If you are members of the Real-Time Society, you benefit from a 50% rebate on the ticket price. This I already showed you, and thank you very much. I'm very interested in having a question if you have some question. Thank you for the support, much appreciated. Maybe what I can do is, I see that David Morin is with us. David, would you like to join me quickly just to kickstart maybe a conversation about the need for the community to move from promises to realities. So I would love to hear your thoughts. So maybe you want to introduce yourself so people can know, get a sense. I'm sure they know you. But...
Hi, thank you, Jean-Michel, for putting me on the spot. My name is David Morin. I work at Epic Games in industry relations. I'm also executive director of the Academy Software Foundation, an organism created in the film industry to encourage the development of open source and open standards. So, virtual production, real time, this is the technology of our time. If you go to NAB here and walk the floor, you see an unprecedented amount of virtual stage of all sorts, and it's the new kid on the block. So every new technology that has come to our media industry go through phases, through original R&D, creative innovation phase where things are great, lots of promises, and and very high-end kind of workflows at first. And then over time, these workflows get figured out, made easier, and can be brought to markets and filmmakers that don't really want to be invested into the early phase and the product that requires a lot of R&D. So the economic conference is very important because we're at that stage where we need to answer questions that normal producers and normal filmmakers have every day, which is, okay, how much does this cost? How can I fit it in my budget? So virtual production has been moving at a super fast pace in terms of its adoption compared to other technologies of the past. And we're going through these phases much faster than usual. And so adoption is there. It's used in camera virtual production in particular, which you see everywhere here. That's the new name for in camera visual effects. Even the terms are evolving very fast. That is being adopted in all sorts of scenarios, but still a small percentage of the scenarios where it could actually help. So we all need to work together to figure that out as fast as possible. For those of us who've gone through the cycle of technology a number of times, we have the benefit and we have the duty to look from our experience about the time it takes to make those technologies more palatable to normal filmmakers and normal people. And so it's very important to do events like the
Real-time economic
summit.
summit.
Yes, the Real-Time Economic Summit.
Thank you so much, David.
You're welcome.
Any question regarding virtual production or the Real-Time Economic Summit? 1, 2, 3? No? Okay. Thank you all for joining this presentation, and we look forward to welcoming you to New York, mid of May. A lot of information on the website, realtimeconference.com. Thank you all.